Hey guys, what is up? Hope you're having a fantastic day so far, and I'm trying out something a little bit new here. So instead of just being a disembodied voice talking about cartoons, I thought I'd do some more like on-camera stuff. So to start, I wanted to talk about She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. So I was lucky enough to go to New York Comic Con, and I actually got to attend this panel that they had for She-Ra, the new Netflix animated show, which is a reboot of the 80s cartoon show. So I was lucky enough to attend. So I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts about the show, what I saw, who was there, everything like that, because I think it's going to be a really great cartoon that we're going to have towards the end of this year in 2018. So I was able to go to this panel with some of the other cartoon YouTubers, and the guests that they had on this panel were showrunner Noelle Stevenson, Karen Fukuhara, who I found out played Katana in Suicide Squad. I never saw Suicide Squad, so after the fact I was like, oh, okay, that's her. That's cool. Amy Carrero, and then Marcus Scribner. Amy voices the main protagonist, Adora, and then you had Karen, who voices Glimmer, and then you have Marcus, who voices Bo. So for this, you can actually go watch the panel that I attended. It's just not going to have any of the clips that they showed there. There's like little breaks that they have. They're just like, oh, we're showing clips right now, so we'll like resume your broadcast, because I'm assuming it was live streamed, and that's why they have those little like weird breaks in there. But I'll leave a link to that in the description box below if you guys want to watch it. It's about 48 minutes. There is no Q&A session. Any questions were from the moderator at that panel. But they filled the space that would be for Q&A with just clips. They're just like, all right, we're not doing a Q&A, so clips. Just everybody's getting clips, which is really great, honestly, because it made me really interested in the show. I was interested to begin with, but after seeing some of the clips, I really got interested in the show, and I think it's going to be really, really great. And hopefully this video will kind of explain why I think She-Ra and the Princesses of Power will be a fantastic animated show that we will have here in the next 3 weeks or so when it releases on Netflix. So to start off, I'm going to talk about the story of She-Ra. Basically anything that I talk about is going to be what they told us at the panel or through questions that they answered, and I'll kind of summarize clips. I don't want to give too much away, especially because the clips were exclusive. We weren't allowed to film during the panel, so I'll kind of just allude to the clips, but we got to see the first 5 minutes or so of the pilot episode, and essentially what we know of the story is there is a girl who's named Adora, and she is set up to be a leader in this army that she's been raised in her whole life. She's been training, she's been wanting to become, I believe it's called a force leader, and she's been training for this her whole life, and she has a best friend named Catra, who's also been training with her, and so they're in a war right now. So they're getting ready to be leaders, soldiers for this war that's going on. There are 2 other characters, the voice actors who are there. Their characters, Glimmer and Bo, they're part of the rebellion. And so Adora doesn't know that the people who've been raising her, the cause she has been fighting for, has actually been this evil army that's been taking over other kingdoms. They're called the Evil Horde. So one day, Catra and Adora are out on either some mission or some sort of trial to, I'm assuming something, to prove themselves to the Horde, to accomplish something for them, and then Adora and Catra get split up. Adora eventually finds a sword, and the sword calls out to her, and she transforms into She-Ra. At some point, she loses track of this sword. I don't know why she didn't keep it. And it comes into the possession of Glimmer and Bo, and they keep it held up in a rebellion-sanctioned fortress. So Adora tries to get it back. Eventually, Adora gets captured by Bo and Glimmer, and then this kind of opens Adora's eyes to what the Horde is, these people that she's known her entire life, what they've been doing, and so Adora kind of accepts her role as She-Ra, accepts the sword, and that's kind of like the premise for the plot of She-Ra. So obviously that wasn't what was shown in the 5 minutes. It was kind of just, you know, through questions and through clips, that was what we were able to piece together, essentially. And I mean, in terms of story, I mean, I think it's a good starting point for a story. You know, I don't think it's necessarily anything that we haven't seen before in terms of a story, but what I think is going to make She-Ra really special are the characters, so I'll get into those now. Adora and Catra are definitely two of the characters that I'm most interested in seeing. I think their relationship is really interesting. If you watch that panel, that I'll leave a link to in the description. It's going to be a very complex and interesting relationship, and also Catra is voiced by AJMW, who voices Stevonnie. So if you're a Steven Universe fan and you want to, you know, get more Stevonnie in your life, kind of, sort of, it's just AJMW. But if you want to, you know, kind of just hear Stevonnie, watch this because she sounds pretty much exactly the same. But the relationship between them is very interesting, and I'll be very curious to see how it develops over the course of the season, because it seems that we're gonna have a couple episodes where Adora and Catra are together in the Horde doing their thing, you know, life is as normal, and then once they get split up, and then, you know, Adora's gonna get captured, and then she's gonna understand her role as She-Ra and what she has to do to protect the other kingdoms. It causes a rift between her and Catra, and something that they constantly said in that panel is how important they still are to each other, but, you know, they each have their own reasons for pursuing the things that they are pursuing. So I think that's going to be a very interesting relationship to see. Glimmer and Bow, I think it's going to be a really great one. They're two best friends. I think they're going to have a lot of really great comedic moments. There's one clip in particular that they showed, kind of the dynamic between Glimmer and Bow. I think it's going to be really funny, really great. But yeah, those are kind of like your main 4 characters that we're going to be spending the most time with, are Adora, aka She-Ra, Catra, Glimmer, and Bow. Those are like your main 4, but there are many other characters. That's why it's called the Princesses of Power. A large, I guess for this would be kind of like an ensemble kind of cast at this point, once you get away from the main 4, of all the other princesses from other kingdoms, and like they went off them really quick during the panel, because they were just kind of like naming them. They're like, okay, here's this person and here's what they're about, but it was really interesting seeing all these different female characters, and that's something else that they really emphasized, was that this is a predominantly female driven show, whether it be the characters, the voice actresses, the showrunners. Like I said, Noelle Stevenson is the showrunner, and then Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who actually voices Kanye's mom in Steven Universe, is the voice acting director for this show. So lots of females are involved in this, you know, in all aspects of the show, which is really great to see. There's one clip in particular that they showed where it had all the princesses like together, and that's one of the other big, you know, plots of the story, is trying to get all these other princesses to come together to form an alliance to defeat the evil Horde. But there was one clip where they were like trying to infiltrate a base, and it was kind of like going through each of them, because each of them have like a special power, or like a little quirk or something like that. And I think my favorite by far is going to be Mermista. I'm pretty sure she's like water. I think she can turn herself into a mermaid, if I'm remembering correctly from like 3 weeks ago. But she was just like sassy and just sarcastic. I'm just like, I think I'm going to like this character a lot. But you also have one that's like really into tech, and her name's Entrapta. But yeah, you have like a lot of really cool females who are into different things, who have different interests, you know, and they're coming together. So I think it's gonna be really great. I think there's gonna be a lot of really great chemistry and dynamics. One of the things that Marcus said during the Q&A was that he's, you know, one of the only male characters in this show. And one of the other things that actually kind of accidentally got dropped is that Bo actually has 2 dads. That wasn't supposed to happen, but I think Amy like was answering a question and like let it slip that Bo actually had 2 dads. And Noelle's like, well, I guess that's out there now. So you know, there's also Bo has 2 dads, which is gonna be really great to see a same-sex marriage, or at the very least a relationship in the show, which I think is really awesome and great. But there's this other character, I believe his name was Seahawk. He just seems like this really eccentric, funny character, almost like a Varric, almost. If you've seen Legend of Korra, is kind of what he like strikes me as. So I think that'll be really funny. I think he'll have some great interactions with Bo. And speaking of Legend of Korra, Adora reminds me a lot of Korra, someone who's trained really hard their whole life to pursue something. You know, I mean, in terms of the actual story, I mean, they don't have that much in similar, but I think in terms of like character archetypes, I think that they're very similar. So yeah, so I'm just really excited to see like all these characters interacting with each other. I think it's gonna be really great to see such a large female cast and just a show that has so many females involved that it's gonna be out there on Netflix. I think that's gonna be really great and exciting. But outside of like the characters and the story, I'll talk a little bit about the art. So the art, I guess it would strike me as something, again, going off Korra, Legend of Korra, or like Avatar, but kind of more simplified and with the color palette of like Adventure Time. It's kind of like a mix, I guess, between the two, just like a simplified Legend of Korra with Adventure Time colors, is what I would describe it as. You know what I mean? I haven't seen enough, I guess, to really know what I think of the animation. I mean, I think it looks good. I mean, anything with 2D, I'm just like, yes, give me more, please, 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 please. Like, that's one of the main reasons I haven't been able to get into shows like Ruby or The Dragon Prince. I can't. Something about that 3D animation just like doesn't gel with me and like my brain or my eyes, whatever. It just doesn't appeal to me as much. So like seeing 2D animation, especially with like Hilda, which I just did a video on, like seeing 2D animation like making a comeback on a platform like Netflix has been really awesome to see. Super excited. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the overall art, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm really excited to see more fight and battle sequences. I think that'll be a really good indicator of the animation. But I mean, the animation overall so far looks really smooth. I do like the colors. It's not quite as like saturated and like in your face as Adventure Time, but I think it looks nice and I think it works well together. And I think like the overall art style looks good. I know when those screenshots first came out, when this was first announced, there was like that huge backlash and controversy over it, but I mean, I think it looks good, in all aspects of the show, and I'm just super excited that there's gonna be another 2D animated, predominantly female cartoon out there, while Steven Universe is on hiatus. And the nice thing about Netflix shows is that you can binge them all in like 1 or 2 days, so yeah. So again, just wanted to give like my thoughts and opinions on why I think She-Ra will be a good show. Probably one of the better shows that we'll get in 2018, like right at the tail end, because I think it releases on November 16th, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, like, I think it's gonna be really great. I think it's gonna be really good, and I hope you guys enjoy it, when it comes out. If you were at the panel, let me know what you thought of the panel, or if you have seen the trailers, let me know what you think of She-Ra so far, because I would love to hear it. But yeah, with that, I think that about wraps it up for this video. Hopefully I'll be able to do more of these kind of like face-to-face videos, because I like, I like doing the recordings where it's just my voice, but sometimes it's nice just to talk to you guys and actually have some sort of face-to-face interaction. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and until next time, guys, take care.